Good morning, dear friends, and you're welcome back to the channel. It's beautiful to have you back with us today. Today, we're going to look at nutrition in bacteria. Nutrition in bacteria, this is important, and what kind of ways do bacteria gain nutrients and use these nutrients for their upkeep. Now, there are two major types of groups, or two major groups for nutrients when it comes to bacteria, and the two groups are autotrophs and heterotrophs, which are simple terms in biology that we already know. Now, under the autotrophs, which we'll be discussing in this video, we'll have a second video where we'll talk about heterotrophs. For autotrophs, bacteria can be divided into two major groups. We have the photoautotrophs and the chemoautotrophs. Now, just as their name implies, photoautotrophs are bacteria that are able to capture energy from the sunlight and use it to make their own materials and nutrients which they can use up for their own use. Now, in the photoautotrophs, you have the ones that make use of chlorophyll. Chlorophyll is a green pigment that is present in some bacteria, and some other bacteria make use of what we call a chlorophyll chlorobium. That's a bacteria called chlorobium, has its own unique chlorophyll called chlorophyll chlorobium. Now, this is important to know. So just like green plants do, bacteria are able to capture energy. Some bacteria, not every bacteria, some bacteria, those that are photoautotrophs, are able to capture energy from the sunlight and then use this energy. Now, unlike in plants, where plants make use of H2O, that's water, as their source of hydrogen, a lot of bacteria rather make use of H2S, hydrogen sulfide, as their source of hydrogen, and then they're able to trap energy from the sunlight and then also make use of CO2 from the environment. So this is important to know. Examples of bacteria that can do this are chlorobium and chlorobacterium. Chlorobium and chlorobacterium are examples of bacteria which are photoautotrophs. Now, apart from photoautotroph, we also have bacteria that we know are chemoautotrophs, or sometimes we refer to them as chemosynthetic bacteria. Now, these are bacteria that are able to use other chemicals and then use chemical reactions to unlock the energy that is stored within other chemicals. They could use sulfur, they could use hydrogen, they could use methane, they could use nitrites, they could use a varied different types of elements and compounds to generate materials which they use for their upkeep. Now, to look at some examples, some bacteria are able to use sulfur. So they use sulfur and compounds of sulfur such as hydrogen sulfide, and they are able to generate their energy from these materials. Examples of such bacteria are our Theobacillus and Theotrix. Theobacillus and Theotrix, these are examples of bacteria that use sulfur for their source of energy. They don't have chlorophyll. Now, another example of such bacteria are bacteria that make use of iron. Some bacteria make use of iron, and they are able to oxidize iron 2 to iron 3. And in the process, they are also able to generate energy, materials and energy for their use. Now, examples of such bacteria are our Ferrobacillus and our Leptotrix and Ferrobacillus. These are examples of bacteria that use iron for their source of energy. We also have bacteria that make use of hydrogen. They use hydrogen for their source of energy, and they find this hydrogen in other compounds that are present in nature. Examples of such bacteria include our bacillus and our hydromonas. Hydromonas is an example of a bacteria that makes use of hydrogen. Now, we have the nitrifying bacteria. These ones are popular. We know about them a lot, and they are majorly in two groups. Now, we have the groups that oxidize ammonia to nitrite, and the groups that oxidize nitrite to nitrate. So these are just two different groups of our nitrifying bacteria. Those that oxidize ammonia to nitrite, they include our examples such as our nitrosomonas and nitrobacter. And the second group, which are the bacteria that oxidize nitrite to nitrate, examples are our nitrococcus. Nitrococcus are a good example of that. Then you also have some bacteria that make use of carbon. Carbon in different forms. Some use carbon in the form of methane. Some use it in some other forms. Those that use, and examples are bacteria that we call our methanococcus. Methanococcus are examples of bacteria that make use of methane. They unlock the energy that is within methane, and then they use it for their own use. So you have methanococcus. We also have the ones that the bacteria that make use of carbon monoxide. They make use of carbon monoxide for their own source of energy. Examples include our bacillus and our oligocarbophilus. These are just examples of bacteria. So that just tells you we're running up this video by saying that we have autotrophs, and these autotrophs could be photoautotrophs or they could be autotrophs or chemosynthetic. Thank you for listening to this video and have a wonderful day.